Welcome back to the Gen Z Speaks podcast. With me today, a 23-year-old entrepreneur on his journey to become a millionaire. How'd you do it, man? How'd you
Bro,
become an entrepreneur? Tell me the life story.
you're putting a lot of pressure on
Tell
me
me
here,
when it
man.
started, man.
When did it start?
Yes, the
It's
bug. No, we actually have an entrepreneur with us today. A very special man who co-hosts this podcast. But today I'll be interviewing him. I want to know, when did the entrepreneurial bug in you start? Do you think it's something you were born with, or did you? What happened?
I remember in second grade, this is the first time I remember like wanting to be an entrepreneur. I was eating a bag of Takis, those chips,
Mm-hmm.
and I was at lunch and everybody loved it at the time, dude. It was super in. We were at 7, 8, and this one kid, I remember his name is Joshua. He's Filipino Joshua. He came up to me and he was like, "Hey, dude, can I get some?" I was like, "No, bro," because I wanted it for myself, just being selfish, dude. And he's like, "Really?" I was like, "I'll sell them to you." And he bought 5 individual little Taki chips, $1 each. So he gave me $5 for 5 of those individual chips.
How old were you?
7.
7.
Yeah,
So you've been a sociopath since you were 7 years old?
I guess so, bro.
That's when it started.
Yeah. And then throughout elementary school, I used to do things, bro. Like, not even elementary, just throughout my school years in general. I used to, different things, dude. Like, we used to have these things called Bobcat Bucks.
What's
Where
that?
so at the elementary school I went to in Mary Bragg and Cerritos, in third grade, they basically gave us little fake dollars or fake bills that were awarded to you if you were a good kid, basically, right? So if you do your homework, you get this much. But so I would get that, I would get those, but I'm like, okay, how do I get more? And so what I would have my parents do, I would have them get me like packets of school supplies or candy, stuff like that, and I would sell them for Bobcat Bucks. And the reward was at the end of the year, everyone got together and they sold all their items from home. It was like a yard sale type thing. And I always had the most, dude. I had like thousands and thousands of Bobcat Bucks, and everyone else had like 200, 300, and I had thousands. And this was like a recurring thing, third and fifth grade.
I didn't have this in Pakistan.
Well,
It was either I got slapped or nothing was said.
it makes sense. Not a capitalist
It
society.
wasn't that? No, it is capitalism.
Is it?
What are you talking about, man? Don't get me started about this. Capitalism versus socialism, Pakistan. Don't get me started, man.
Okay.
So it started when you were a young kid.
Yeah.
When was the moment? Did you have a moment? Was it a series of moments when you were like, maybe this is like my career path. Maybe this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think that's closer to high school.
Mm.
Even elementary school, I wanted to be an inventor, so I want to be like an engineer in elementary school. Middle school, I wanted to be in law. I want to be a lawyer. And then,
Really? You want to be a lawyer?
yeah, in middle school, my dad kept bringing it up to me. You should be a lawyer, and you can
Wow.
like upgrade to become a politician. And he was giving me this whole like life story. I was like, oh, that seems pretty cool. It's interesting. And high school, I realized I have no interest in being a lawyer, or like practicing law in that way. And so I decided, I was like, what is it? And I was like, I've always been interested in business. And my dad always took me to his meetings, always told me how his work was going, how his business was going. And I was like, I kind of want to do this. And it was just a matter of what I wanted to get into. But in high school, for sure, I think it solidified like my junior year of high school. I'm like, I'm going to be in business.
Junior year
Yeah.
of high school.
Yeah.
Did you start any businesses in high school?
In high school, not in high school, but my freshman year of
You used to sell
college.
something in high school. I forgot. What was it?
I've sold things here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to sell remember portable chargers? I used to
Portable chargers.
Yeah.
There you go.
I used to make these portable chargers. I would solder like an Altoids can together with little batteries, and I would sell these little portable chargers. I sold candy, the typical stuff. Not to what I should have been doing. In hindsight, I think I had a lot more potential, but I just never. I don't know what it was. I just wasn't creative enough, I think, in high school.
I have this memory of you in high school.
Yeah.
I think it was freshman year. I walk in. I think it was one of the first few days.
Uh-huh.
It was you, Matthew Uribe, Joseph.
Okay.
You guys were making some company or something.
Yeah.
And then you guys started
Yeah.
selling me some equity or something. I was like, I used to like watch Shark Tank a lot, so I started negotiating. I was like, no, I want royalties. I want 10%. I want this.
Really?
Something I remember this. It was like the courtyard. You remember the courtyard when you
Yeah.
enter?
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
were all standing with your. It was some goodies bags or something. It was something, some sort of business
Yeah.
you were launching. And you were like, "Well, you want some equity?" I was like, "Okay, sure. I want some. I want like 50."
You remember this?
I remember this, bro,
Wow.
distinctly.
Yeah, I
It was
remember
one of the
this.
first few days in high school. You remember this?
Yeah, I
Right?
remember this.
What was happening? What was the company?
So
Something was happening.
yeah, so okay, middle school, freshman year of high school, sophomore year, I was super into like apps and tech. Like that was just super interesting to me, and I thought I would be able to. I thought I was gonna be able to build an app, but I wanted other people to do it, and make
any
me money.
other business
Basically, yeah, that's literally it. I want other people to do it and make me money, and so. I wanted to. I had some app ideas at the time, and I was thinking, okay, I'm not that tech savvy in terms of like coding and stuff like that. I'm like, let me find some other people that are and are willing to code, basically. And I had some friends, and
Yeah.
I think what I was trying to do, I was trying to figure out who fits in what place in this. And so we decided to go into like the Apple software space, and we would meet at the Cerritos library a few times. It never amounted to anything, but
Yeah.
I remember we would rent the conference room out. There was like 6 of us. Yeah, we would rent the conference room out in Cerritos library, and we would just discuss how we're going to do it, the ideas, how we're going to make money. And so one of the ideas I had to make money was to make these portable chargers. And then I was doing that and saving for the, for the software project. And then it wasn't of as much of interest to other people as it was to me, and so it just didn't amount to much.
As a 15% owner in the company, why was I never invited to these meetings?
Well, I don't remember ever giving you
Cerritos
50%.
library?
Yeah,
The conference room?
crazy, right?
Damn. Y'all wanted to be like
No, bro.
ballers, bro. That's
Fun
cool.
day, bro.
Okay, so that's good.
Fun times.
That makes me think that you really wanted something.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Early on.
Early on,
Yeah.
you really wanted something.
Oh, you're right, bro.
What?
It wasn't.
I did have 50%.
Yeah. No, not
25%?
that.
Was it 50?
No. But it was early on. It was actually 8th grade, the end of 8th grade.
It was 9th grade for me because we never went.
Yeah.
Like we went to.
That was your perception of me from that time. But when I wanted to get into business, it was the end of 8th grade. I remember this now. I had so I was in leadership. I was president in 8th grade, and
ASB student
of
body.
ASB. Yeah. So
Associate student body.
associate student body, and I remember my leadership or ASB teacher. It was leadership in middle school, but my ASB teacher in middle school, she had like a bookshelf of different books, and it was how to be a young CEO. And I was looking at it, and I was like, huh. And I loved Steve Jobs. I mean, it was just the thing. I love Steve Jobs. I loved learning about Bill Gates and all these people. I'm like, okay, maybe that would be interesting. And so I took the book and I was reading it, and she was like, just keep it, Matt. And I was like, okay. And so I read it, and it was all emails. So it was this kid who would email all these big CEOs, and he would get emails back from them, and it was their it was their opinion on how to become a CEO or what made them successful, how to do things. And so I was reading this, and I was like, wow, it would be cool to run a company.
Yeah.
I was like, that would be interesting, and that's how it started. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
What was the name of the
It was
book?
earlier. How to be a young CEO.
How to be a young CEO.
Yeah.
And you read this book
Yeah.
at the end of 8th grade.
The end of 8th grade.
And
Yeah,
that
dude.
planted the seed to
Yeah.
be a young entrepreneur, which made you start that portable charging stuff.
Portable charging. Yeah.
Yeah.
In middle school, though, I remember I used to resell Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So I would create bundle packs, basically. And the
What
kids,
cards?
Yu-Gi-Oh?
I don't know what that.
You know what Yu-Gi-Oh is?
No.
Okay, Yu-Gi-Oh is like a Pokemon type thing.
I didn't have a childhood. Go ahead.
Yeah. I can tell. It was all cricket.
Basically,
I used to reorganize Yu-Gi-Oh cards, my own. And I would put them in these bundle packs. And I would sell it to the kids at school. It was huge in middle school. For some reason, everyone was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I'd go to all these Yu-Gi-Oh! Kids, and I'd say, hey, it's like $6 a bundle pack or whatever. And I had a strategy of how to place the cards so people would keep buying them more and more. And I remember in like a few days, dude, I made a few $100s, like $300.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, cool. And I kept doing it. And then I started doing that, and I started doing candy. And a teacher caught me, and we weren't allowed to sell things at school. And she was like, I plead. I was like, please don't send me to the office. I pleaded with her. I was, I'll stop. And I finished the day selling, and I never did it again.
The feds get you, man.
I let the feds get me, bro. The ops
get you.
The ops got me, bro.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so you always had this talent in you then.
Oh, I don't know why. I've always been interested in money. I just wanted money.
What's your fascination with money, man?
I don't know, bro. Maybe I'm Scrooge.
Do you think like the idea of having a lot of money motivates you?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. It makes me feel more confident in myself.
And when you're right now, tell us what your entrepreneurial journey is looking like. What do you do?
Right now, I am a I am a liquidation warehouse owner.
What does that mean?
So what does that mean, right?
Break it down.
Liquidation is a very broad thing, but liquidation is in the reverse logistics cycle of any e-commerce or retail business, right? So, for example, Amazon, Home Depot, Target, Walmart, any store you can think of, really, I'm just naming the big guys, they all end up with inventory that they cannot sell. And so what do they have to do? They have to go ahead and call liquidators, guys with third-party warehouses, and say, hey, I need this gone ASAP. Can you buy it from me for 5% of retail, 10% of retail value? And guys like me will go in and we'll go buy that inventory for very cheap and then resell it on our market.
And you have a warehouse.
Yeah.
Where you stock all the items.
Exactly.
And then young entrepreneurs come to you.
Yes.
Get pallets.
Correct.
And then flip those pallets.
Yes.
Now, what is a pallet?
So what's a pallet? A pallet is a wood piece. No, I'm just messing around. A pallet is literally a piece of wood that items are on top of, right? Yeah. So there's two types of pallets. There's one that's the actual wooden pallet, and then another type of pallet that has a bunch of inventory on top of it, right? So there's all types of wholesale pallets. That's what we call them. Where the wholesale pallet has different items. So there may be pallets that are big boxes on top of pallets, right? And there might be 5 feet to 7 feet tall, bunch of items inside there. Or there's shrink wrapped pallets where there's a bunch of items 6 to 7 feet tall, with higher quality grade product. And then there's others. There's bulks, right? So Amazon bulk has them. Walmart, everybody has these bulks, which is like sofas and TVs and vanities and tile, all this big stuff, right? So there's high value items, but it's just really heavy stuff. And so those are the three type of pallets that I receive.
So the name of your company is Pallet Dudes.
Pallet Dudes.
What made you want to go in the liquidation business? Was it intentional? Was it just something that happened naturally?
Yeah. It wasn't intentional, actually. I just wanted to have a side hustle. That's really it. I was working a corporate job, and I've always wanted to do something on my own. So in college, I always realized, like, I want to do something on my own, right? When I realized that I didn't want to work the corporate ladder. That's just what it was. I didn't want to work for somebody and work for 20 years in order to become a VP or CEO or something for somebody else at the end of the day. So I realized, maybe a quicker way to do it and I could work for myself is starting my own thing. So in college, I was trying to figure out what it was. So I got my real estate license because I could be my own boss if I was a real estate agent and figure it out from there. Like, okay, maybe I can learn about real estate and get into investments, and from investments, I can build my portfolio. So I did that, and it took a turn of events, right? So after college, there was a turn of events, and I got out of real estate. I started working a corporate job, something I didn't want to do but had to do in order to save money and make money. And while I was working this corporate job, I was an account manager, making good money, 6 figures. But I just needed to figure something out, how to get out of here, right? So my dad told me that there was warehouses that had pallet liquidation. And I was like, what is that? And so I started watching the YouTube videos and trying to figure it out. And I asked him, do you know where any of these places are? He's like, no. But they're out there, and there's some local for sure. And so I started Googling it, and then I started just visiting random warehouses. And I found a guy. And now, since I found the guy, I knew what I was looking for now, right? So I was able to find more spots that did that. Bought a pallet from them for, I think it was $1,100, and I flipped it. I made like $2,500.
Nice.
And I realized, okay, I was like, there's something here. If I'm able to scale this, then I could be really big money, right? And so I started buying more pallets. The next one was 5 pallets, and then I bought like 7 and then 10. And I realized that there was an opportunity missing in this industry. And the opportunity was there's no customer service in liquidation. There's no transparency. Everybody is hidden. They want to stay hidden in their warehouse, and only the people.
Why is that?
Only the people that they want to cultivate their current client base, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? So the realization is this is a very cash intensive business. So the more tight you are with your client base, the more cash you're going to receive. You don't have to ship it, countrywide. You don't have to ship it here or there. And so they want to keep it cash, for one. 2, there's more demand within your circle, Rather, if you open it up to the world, right, you have to have more inventory. But if you keep it tight, there's only a certain amount of people that come to you. It's easier to contact these people. There becomes like a little bit of a frenzy. So it's almost like you have a scarcity of items within a controlled client base.
But can't you make more money if you reach out to more people?
You can make more money, but it becomes much more complicated because you need more employees.
Yeah.
You need more inventory, right? And eventually, maybe those guys did do that. I don't know, right? But at the time, a lot of these guys, they only have themselves, the owners there, and then maybe a couple warehouse guys.
Yeah.
And that's really it. Majority of these guys don't have many people working for them. And I think another thing is, honestly, they just don't know how to market. They're just not good marketers. All these people are old heads. They don't know how to be a business owner in the current day and age. Like, they don't know how social media works. They don't know how to contact people here, people there, or grow their business that way. It's all word of mouth.
So why don't they want to make more money if they can? Just they don't want that responsibility, that burden of so much, like handling employees,
Yeah.
bureaucracy, management, HR, resources,
There's
whatnot.
There's that for sure. I think a lot of people are just afraid of that, of more responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
The other fear people have is they don't want to lose money. And that's something I'm debilitating with right now. How do I grow this without losing money in the short term, right? And so what I've realized is these guys, they're not real business owners. They're hustlers. So they're thinking of the right now, how do I make this dollar last me longer, basically, right? And so it's another question, right, man? It's like, how does some of these software companies never amount to anything? How did Google make it? How did Apple make it? How did Microsoft make it?
Yeah.
Right? They knew how to scale, and they weren't afraid of dialing back the dollars from their pocket and expanding it into employees, into other things, right? These people, they're not very good at scaling. That's what I've realized. And it's not an easy business to scale, to be honest with you, because reverse logistics is the back end of all business, right?
Yeah.
So you have to find these people that aren't public figures. They're not public. It's not public information. And you have to figure out who is where, you know what I'm saying? All these people that sell on Amazon, right? It's a huge thing. FBA. How do they find their inventory? FBA. So it's a fulfillment business of Amazon, basically.
Okay.
So when you sell product on Amazon, say you want to sell Adidas shoes, right? There's two ways of getting it. One way is getting it straight from Adidas for wholesale price, but you have to prove to Adidas that you're able to sell their product and you can take in a certain amount. And the other way is finding liquidators that have this Adidas product and getting it from them without it being locked on Amazon, basically. So you have to provide proof to Amazon, hey, I can sell this product. But all these FBA guys, how do they get Amazon? How do they get Adidas? How do they get Crocs? How do they get Nike? All these types of makeup brands, right? And it's because they come to liquidators like me. And so they'll come to liquidators like me and say, hey, I can take all these Adidas shoes that are, $100 retail and buy them from you for $20, $25 each. And they'll go on there and resell it at that $100 mark or $90. And so it's like, what I'm trying to get at here is it's very difficult to grow in this business because everything is unknown, basically. You have to find it.
Do you want to make it like a global enterprise? Is your goal to scale it? Or is your goal just to like see where things go?
Yeah.
Because obviously you started with, how much was your first warehouse? What space was it?
1,000 square feet.
So this one is
2,200.
So you doubled it in a year.
Yeah.
What's the next big step?
Next big step, I have this lease for 2 years. We'll see. I mean, ideally, I would like to get to 5,000 to 6,000 square feet on the next one, and that's doubling to tripling this almost.
Yes.
So I think if I get there, I'll be at a very comfortable. So in 2 years, I'll be 25, right? If I'm able to get there in 2 years,
6, 2 years.
Yeah. Well, no, I got this warehouse in July.
Because I see what
Yeah.
you're doing.
So I'll be 25 by the time this warehouse lease is up. And by 25, I think I'll be able to be at a comfortable position to have employees. Basically, you need a lot of cash, dude. You need a lot of capital in order to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm not the guy that wants to go borrow money from the bank. If I can do it myself, I'd rather do it myself because I don't owe anybody anything. I'm still not working for anybody. I'm working for myself. Everything has been from my savings. If I were to get money from the bank, I'm kind of working for them. I have to pay them. I have to pay them interest. I have to spend more time for them in order to get them money. This way, I have to work for myself. I have to get money for myself. I have to realize how much is in my savings, how fast I need that money back in order to buy more inventory. And so to get to 5,000 to 6,000 square feet, I need, $100,000 probably liquid in order to have that cash flow every month. And I think in 2 years that'll be a very possible thing. And I can bring in, sales guy, I can bring in a warehouse guy, and I can bring in these different people to fill positions where my pocketbook is still being filled with money. Right now, if I were to do that, I'd be investing in the business, but I would also be taking money from my pocket. I wouldn't be earning much money at all. And that's the problem.
Mark Cuban was there. He was like, he'd say, "Come on, man, don't take it." Don't.
Would he say that?
I think so.
I don't know
what he would say, but he always on.
Yeah.
I remember on Shark Tank, he's always like advocating for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Okay, just hustle, like live in your car if you have to, like he's
yeah.
right, like he's
no,
like,
yeah. That's the way he is.
Entrepreneurial mentality.
Yeah, he's also a big sharer, right? He's a big equity sharer. So whenever he sells a company, he shares the equity with all the employees.
He does do that.
Yeah. You heard about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just different. It's just different businesses too. I mean, the software space, it's a lot bigger than this. I mean, I'll never become a billionaire from liquidation. That'll just never happen.
Why?
It's just not enough inventory.
If you're able to tap into Amazon's,
no, I'll never become a billionaire.
Really?
No, unless I monopolize this business. And
well, what do you think Amazon is? It's a monopoly. What do you think Google?
No.
All these big companies.
The difference is Amazon is selling to consumers.
Yeah.
Consumers don't want to buy pallets.
Right. You're selling to a very niche market.
A very niche market.
Very, very niche. It's guys and gals that really want to
try to hustle. Yeah.
And, flip stuff. And
exactly.
Make as much profit as they can.
Yeah.
So your job is to find these people.
Yes.
Bring them to the warehouse so they can see.
And convince them.
And then convince them to buy another one. Like customer retention.
Exactly.
Is a big part of your business.
Yes.
Okay.
Retention rate is, I think once you have people that know what they're doing, it's pretty easy to have them keep coming back. But new people coming into this business, it's not easy because they buy it and a lot of these guys don't know how to sell. They just don't know what they're getting into. And it sucks because I tell everybody, if you don't know how to sell or if you're worried you're going to sell something too cheap, call me and ask me. That's my biggest thing. If you're a customer of mine, I'm always open to questions. I'm always open to answer anything, to help you out with whatever it is. Hey, Matt, I didn't receive too many good products on this one. Is there anything you can do? I'll help you out. My thing is I want to help entrepreneurs make money. I want to help them do something with themselves, right? And a lot of guys don't call. I don't know if it's a pride thing or if they think that they could do it themselves, which might just be it, right? But my biggest thing in this business is it's cool to flip pallets, right? It's fun. But it's not that's not my dream. That's not my goal. My goal, I've realized with this business, helping entrepreneurs buy inventory and realize that they can make money with their money, essentially, right? They're investing $1,000 and they can make $600 to $800 in profit. Why not? Why would you not want to make an 80% profit margin? It just doesn't make sense to not want to do that. So a lot of these guys come in and they're able to do that, and that makes me feel fulfilled. Now the question is, how do I get outreach to these people faster? And that's $1 million question I'm trying to figure out right now.
What happens if somebody doesn't like their pallet? Do you return it or?
Absolutely not. Everything's final sale. I don't have.
Have you ever had people?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
Yeah, it happens.
They're like, what is this?
The thing is, you have to be, because a lot of them, like I said, they don't know what they're selling. And I explained to them, it's Home Depot product. It's a very niche product.
It's mostly Home Depot.
Yeah, all my product in-house is Home Depot. The reason I do that is because they're necessities, first of all. So contractors are always going to need tools. They're always going to need building material. They're always going to need fixtures for houses, right? This is stuff that's always going to be necessary. And I'm able to basically leverage price because they need it. It's not like they're buying a pillow or a comforter that they just want because theirs got old, right?
Need versus desire.
Exactly. Need versus want. And plus just Home Depot quality of liquidation is just a lot better than Walmart or Amazon. It's just way better quality. It's not like cheap Chinese manufactured product. It's actually like durable stuff. So I get less complaints because of that. But how do I handle like people wanting to return their pallets? Basically, the thing is, I try to explain to them that this is a very niche thing. It's stuff that you may not know what it even is yet. I didn't know what most of this stuff was. But if you can learn how to sell it, then you can make a lot of money, right? And a lot of them, I think they want the easy things. They want iPhones. They want laptops. They want PS5s. And every time I get a phone call, I get a couple phone calls a week of people asking me for iPhones. And the thing is, it's you'll see it on Facebook. You'll see it online. Oh, buy a pallet of iPhones for $1,200. It's $8,000 of retail value. It's not. It's not. It's a scam. It's literally a scam. And so all these guys, I've had people come to me and buy my pallets and be happy with my product because they've been scammed with buying tools or buying iPhones or Macs or Nike product.
Aren't they usually just broken? The product.
Yes, that's well, majority are scams, but the ones that are good,
tech-based, right?
yeah, they are broken. It's just I don't want to deal with
That's why
that.
it's liquidation. Yeah.
Exactly, and I just don't want to deal with broken technology because, for example, an iPhone's what $1,000 retail.
Yeah.
If I'm buying 10 iPhones for $5,000 and one is broken, that's already more than 10% of my margin, right? So I'm already losing over $500 from one broken iPhone. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to. It's called straddling. You want to straddle your cost, right? So if you have more items on one pallet and one item is broken, you automatically lose a big percent of your purchase. So I want items that there's a lot of, or I know there's gonna be good quality product on there. Yeah.
What have been some strategies that the best entrepreneurs adapt that you've seen? Because you deal with these people all day, every day.
Yeah.
That's basically your whole clientele.
Yeah.
What do they do? What sets apart the doers from the not doers?
They've been in this for a long time. And I'm going to be honest with you. Majority of the ones that keep coming back, they're immigrants. Yeah, they don't necessarily have a steady job. They're at the swap meets hustling. They're on OfferUp Marketplace trying to roll, because they don't have the other opportunities that some Americans have, right? And these guys, some of them kill it, dude. They have like 3-4 slots at the swap meet. They have 3 employees working for them, and they're there 6 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah, and they own a home, and they have an actual life going for them. But they've obviously in the beginning, buying a pallet and flipping it, it's not a get rich quick scheme. That's the end of the story. It's not a get rich quick scheme. And so they had to buy a pallet and figure it out. And there's times where they lose money, and there's times where they make a lot of money. And what they've realized is I need to buy a certain grade of product and keep coming back. Because some of these guys that buy these Home Depot pallets, they'll buy 3-4 a week, and they'll be good for that week. But they need to have the same inventory next week because they're getting known at swap meets as the Home Depot guys. And so they're basically being branded. So I think that's been the biggest key takeaway from that. Being branded and being consistent in this business.
Do you think this is something that you could just expand across the country, or do you want to stay local?
No. This is definitely expandable business. Yeah.
You would just need to tap into the liquidators
in different markets. Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, like Home Depot liquidation, there's only 4 reverse logistics centers nationwide. And so if you're in, North Dakota or whatever, there's nothing near there, and the freight cost will be probably close to $4,000 or $5,000, and that automatically takes away majority of your profit. So it just doesn't make sense to do that.
So for somebody listening in, they're like, "Oh, this is interesting. How do I get started?"
Yeah, literally, give me a call. That's it.
At palletdudes.com.
Just look up Pallet Dudes Wholesale.
Yeah.
On Google, my number will come up. Press call, and I walk people through the business. Whether you buy a pallet from me or not, I will walk you through the business and how it works.
That's good.
Yeah, that's my value proposition. It's just customer service and transparency. I'm trying to add as much value to these people as much as possible. I'm not trying to be everybody's only supplier because there's a few of us out here. But as long as you're, hey, Matt's helping me, I think eventually people will be interested in working with me.
How do you manage so many people and their questions? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you manage that with getting the supply in and all the other stuff?
Time. 12-hour days, bro.
How many hours a week do you think you're working right now?
Right now, I'm working a lot. I'm working a lot more than my last warehouse.
Well, because this is bigger.
It's just
So
bigger
you're selling
and
more,
more
making
going
more
on. Yeah,
money, so that you have to work longer.
you have to work along. Yeah, and I'm just taking on more responsibility, right? Like I just signed up to be a business broker. I took more responsibility on with this podcast room, right? To really legitimize this.
But on the pallet, like your
yeah.
pallet flipping business is like 12-hour days, 6 days a
Yeah,
week.
it's been a lot. Yeah, it's been a lot recently.
Okay, so you're putting in the work, which is
Yeah,
what it takes to
yeah,
grow
it's
any
what it takes.
business.
You have
Yeah.
to do it.
There's no shortcut to it.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's good. So somebody who's trying to flip pallets, it's gonna take time. You
yeah,
have to be consistent.
yes.
You have to be street smart. You can't, you if you're not, you can learn how to be street smart. It's definitely something you can learn.
And that's something that's funny to me because some people trip out uh about the quality of the product that may came out like for example the shrink wrap pallets I was telling you about, right?
Mhm.
A 70% is average to be new. Sometimes it's lower. So
Yeah.
it just happens, right? And I remember I had these two brothers. They came and good kids are trying to do something. They found a pallet. They decided I recommended a pallet. They chose a different one. That's their responsibility. They're 18, 19 years old. They're adults. They can make their own decisions. My recommendation, I'm not their freaking dad, right? Telling them, hey, you should do this. I'm not going to do that. So they made their decision and they went home. They opened everything up.
Yeah.
And there was a couple broken product and a couple products they thought were broken that weren't. They just didn't know what it was. And so I told them, hey, bring the product back. Let me see it. And if it is the case, I will give you different inventory. I'll give you brand new stuff and we can open and make sure it's good. Because that's how I am. I want to make sure that they're not losing their money.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they're making money and they're good to go. Unfortunately, they brought stuff back and it wasn't broken at all. It was actually brand new in package. And they just, it was a ceiling fan, for example. And they were used to light bulbs going into the ceiling fan, but it's an LED light. And they didn't know what that was, basically. Yeah. There was a grill stand where you basically, you have to put it together.
Yeah.
But they were looking at it, and they're like, oh, it's a little dirty because it was a return. But literally, you can clean it. And I grabbed a Clorox wipe, and I cleaned it. And I was like, there you go, buddy. And they were like, well, I just don't know what it is. I'm like, bro, look at the box. It's a stand for their grill. I was like, literally just post it. And you have to, I told them, I'm not telling you this is an easy thing to make money. It's not easy. And I tell everybody that before I sell them a pallet. I'm like, this is not a get rich quick scheme. It's just not.
What if you find a way to just sell everything on your own? Is there a way?
There is a way.
You could use software. There has to be some way.
No,
to use
100%.
technology to just leverage everything and just make.
And do piece by piece, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that do that. So
How do they do that?
they buy and they literally inventory everything. So they'll go through the pallets, everything piece by piece.
That takes a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. So you need people.
And people will sort that. And then,
Yes.
Yeah.
You need retail space. Retail space is 2 to 3 times the price of a warehouse space. On top of that,
Why would you need retail space for this stuff, though? Would you?
Because there's a lot of product on a truckload. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of items on one truckload.
Like, public display.
You need public display. Facebook OfferUp isn't enough. So you need customers to see you, say, hey, what is that? Let me go check it out, right? Because thousands of people are on the streets every day driving. They're gonna come. It's just gonna happen.
Right.
But you need more money, and you need to do that. Plus, on top of that, there's different tax code for that, right? So you're no longer a wholesaler. I'm a wholesaler right now.
Because right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's a completely different business. But there's vertical movement in this, and there's lateral movement, which is cool. You can make money either way. Right now, I've been going a vertical way. Yeah. I've been growing the pallet business, selling by the pallet. Eventually, I would love to have a retail store and throw everything in there and sell it by that. I would love to do that. It's just a different type of business model.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because it would be impossible for you
to inventory.
manually do everything.
It's
and
too crazy.
More stress as well, because how are you managing thousands of?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would have to bring people on. They have to know what this business is.
Yeah.
Realize, hey, there's gonna be broken stuff. How to maybe McJigger things together. Or
So would you say, is that more of an advanced stage in the business?
retail?
Yeah.
It's just different.
It's just a completely different.
It's just
business
completely
model.
different. Yeah, like me, I go directly to the source, right? They don't need to do that.
Would you make more money by being a wholesaler or by being in retail? Retail seems more scalable.
Retail is more scalable, but the scary thing is with retail, you have to have more customers coming in. I don't need that many customers because a lot of my customers need the same product every week. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
So it's just there's more profit in that, but there's more cost in that.
Yeah.
There's less profit in this, but there's less cost.
Mm.
There's less customers I need, so there's less headache. More customers you need there, so there's more headache.
So it's just a lot of this is just about like responsibility in terms of like how much
Yeah,
work related stress do you really want?
that's a lot of
Because you
it.
can squeeze your 24
Yeah.
hours and make so much money.
You can,
And
yeah.
you'll have you'll age and like a president.
Yeah, yeah. You
in,
don't
like,
want to
2
do that.
years.
Yeah, yeah. Don't want to do that.
Interesting. Okay. That's fascinating. Do you think the work you do, pallet flipping, like it
Yeah.
gives you fulfillment, you said?
It
Like,
gives me fulfillment, yeah.
It's gratifying.
I think it's cool selling brand new product to people for 30 to 50% off retail.
Mm-hmm.
They come to me instead of going to Target. That's a good feeling, right? Target's a conglomerate, but they'll come to me to come buy a lamp or cuz they're by the way, I do some piece by piece. Some of it I do like the larger items, like vanities, tile. Yeah, I wholesale the piece by piece items too.
Why don't you advertise to, like construction companies or something? Is there a way to reach them?
Yeah, I do
organically?
work with contractors.
Okay.
I do
that's
work with
good, yeah.
contractors. Yeah, so that they come in and they'll buy pallets of like tools and stuff like that for sure.
Then is it word of mouth? Like if they like it, they'll
It's
tell
big
their
word of mouth
friends?
because the thing is, I don't have consistent product. If I had consistent product, like consistent building material, I'm always going to have this piece of tile,
Mm-hmm.
and it just you let me know how much you need, and I will have it. Right?
Yeah.
It's a different game because that's complete wholesale, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a very specialty amount of products that I have. Versus right now, it's what comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever comes in, I post it up or I message people, hey, I have this, I have this, I have this, and it's never the same product. Yeah,
Interesting. Does that make your job harder or easier? Because it's never the same.
it's more fun, I think.
Really?
Yeah, it's more fun.
You like the uncertainty of it?
Yeah, it's insane, dude.
Really?
Yes. You know what's crazy? Every time I buy a truckload, I'm like, shit, I made the wrong move. I shouldn't have bought this truckload. I shouldn't have bought this truckload. I'm not gonna make money. Every time, bro. I just realized I was driving
Why?
back
What do you think the worst, man?
because I do the math, right? Everything I do the math, and it just I'm like, okay, because I'm there, I'm thinking about the truckload, right? That I'm looking at. Okay, I'm gonna make this much money, and then the product comes, and I'm like, damn, I'm not gonna make. I'm not. I lost money here. I lost money there. I have
Yeah.
too much of this product. I have to sell it for cheaper, and then slowly the numbers start dwindling down, and so that makes me feel like super hesitant. Yeah.
So how often do you do? It just depends on your inventory and how often you need truckloads.
Yeah. So usually right now it's 2 a month.
2 a month. So
Yeah.
every month.
Every
Oh,
month I buy
a
2
month.
truckloads.
So bi-weekly.
Yeah, biweekly.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so do you think? I think I might have asked you this question before. Do you think anyone can be an entrepreneur, or is something you need to build early on in life?
I think anyone can own a business.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just being an entrepreneur is just a different thing, man.
How do you identify yourself? Are you an entrepreneur or business owner, or do you think you're
No, I'm an
using both
entrepreneur.
hats? You're
I'm an entrepreneur.
but you're also a business owner.
I'm
Is this
also a business owner. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But I don't want to stop here. A lot of these guys that are in this liquidation space, or not even that, if they own a restaurant or they own something, they're just cool with where they're at. That's a business owner, right? There's nothing wrong in it, but they just, like you said, it's a responsibility thing. They don't want to take on more. They don't want to just strive for more because they're making 10, 20 grand a month. And they're like, okay, this is a comfortable living. I can, be good. I can have nice cars, a nice house. My kids can be cool. I can spend time with them. But being an entrepreneur, it's like, yeah, this is working, but how do I fine tune it to make it better? How do I turn that 10 grand into 15? How do I turn this 2,000 square foot warehouse space into 5 or 6,000? Right? There's scalability in it. To me, a business owner, it's just a different thing, man. And there's nothing wrong in it. Eventually, I think I can become like in pallet flipping specifically, liquidation. I think at 6,000 square feet, 8,000 square feet, I can be the business owner here, and I'm cool with whatever it is because I don't want to be greedy either, right? But if I get to a space where I can turn 10, 15 trucks a month, I'm cool. That to me is a worthwhile goal. I don't need to do more than that. I don't need to be greedy and like make this much more money, right?
Well, it's interesting that you define a business owner. I'm not saying your definition, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're saying the difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner is an entrepreneur thinks big. An entrepreneur always wants to scale.
Yeah.
Whereas a business owner sure they want to scale, but once they get to where they want to be, they just get complacent and they don't have that ambition to
Yeah,
keep scaling and scaling
exactly.
and scaling. Interesting.
And a lot of people get stuck in the small space. Like at the
Mm.
1,000 square foot building I was at, there's 30, 40 businesses there. Why don't they have more space? You know,
Mhm.
sometimes maybe like if you have super high, like high value on a small product, and that's fine. Then that's totally fine. Like for example, if I was able to do all liquidation cosmetics, 1,000 square feet would be fine. I could make 20, 30 grand a month profit,
Yeah.
right?
It's small products.
It's a small product. You can fit more.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them, it's like just them working there, and they're in their 50s, 60s, right? And they don't have anybody else working. They don't want to hire anybody. But what people fail to realize with scalability is if you take on more space, you can fit more product there. And if you fit more product there, that takes care of the person working it. And now you don't have to spend as much time. It's almost the same thing, except it's just less work because you have somebody else working there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do most of your customers come right now through online marketing or just like in person?
Online marketing.
Online. So what do
Everything.
you use?
Google's been huge right
Do
recently.
you use Google Ads?
No. People just, it's just natural SEO.
Oh, just like by reviews.
Yeah, reviews, and I have five or six search terms on my Google business account,
Mhm.
and that's been huge. I ask people, how'd you find me? How'd you find me? And everyone says Google. I get people from Facebook Marketplace. That's been really big too, Facebook Marketplace, to buy pallets. But Google's been huge.
So to any young like entrepreneur listening right
Yeah.
now and they want to start a business, what are like 3 to 5 things you recommend they do?
3 to 5 things as a young entrepreneur.
It could be like mentality wise,
Yeah.
it could be like in terms of actual business wise, marketing. What do you recommend? Some 18-year-old kid is listening to this.
Yeah.
They don't want to maybe not do pallets necessarily. They want to do something else.
Yeah.
What are 3 to 5 things that in your experience you've seen in the last couple of years that are needed for an entrepreneur to have?
So real quick, this is like I told you, this is kind of like my one. I think one of my goals now or
Mhm.
dreams is to help young entrepreneurs realize that the dream is still here. Like we could still do it. And I know I'm still young. I'm turning 24, right? But that's something I've realized I found some success, right?
Yeah.
So I found it in myself. Like the American dream is possible. You can make money. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm putting together like a community type thing.
Mhm.
And there's gonna be 2 things in there. It's gonna be one, how to pallet flip. It's gonna be more. It's gonna be how to be a liquidator, basically.
Mhm.
How to sell truckloads. How to broker off stuff. How to flip by the piece, flip by the pallet. Right. I'm gonna be creating. It's essentially a course. I hate using that word, but it's a community of people. And I'm gonna
Maybe
be.
Ty Lopez?
Oh
Pallet
man,
flipping?
I don't want to be that guy. See, to another. I respect people that sell courses that have like time and wisdom behind them, right? That they have some skill that they've earned, right?
They're
The
not
people,
just scamming you or speaking out of their chest.
exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys out there that I know I'm young too, and I have 3 years of experience in this business, but it's something. A lot of these guys, they'll literally clip up numbers from other people, say, I made $10,000 in stocks yesterday. It's like, okay, how? And the cool thing about the pallet flipping business that gives me credibility is I have a location. You can literally come drive to my warehouse in Downey.
It's real.
It's
not
real.
fake. This
It's
podcast
real.
is happening
Y-
in the
it-
warehouse.
The podcast is happening in the warehouse.
Yeah.
You can literally drive down, see me, and I will walk you through the numbers in my warehouse, literally. And you can come on a truckload day, see me actually unload inventory myself. Like I'm not the guy that's clean and neat and wants everyone to do it themselves and then go scam them because other people are doing the work. No, I'm literally the guy in the trenches. I unload truckloads by myself. I unload 3-ton pallets by myself, pushing it from the truck into my warehouse.
It's hard like labor.
It's hard labor, dude, and it's me doing it. I don't have anybody else doing anything right now.
Yeah.
Right? I'm doing this. So you can literally walk into the warehouse and see my struggle. And you can watch me do it, right?
Why don't you go to Home Depot and get you some guys?
That's what people say.
That?
You know how much they charge?
How much?
They charge $250 a day right now.
What?
Yes.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
$250 for the whole day?
For the whole day. 8-hour day.
Okay.
That's what they charge.
It's not unreasonable, I guess, right?
I mean,
they're
it
charging
used to be $80 a day, $100 a day.
back when?
Like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
But $250, that's a lot. I'm not paying
$250 for the whole day.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing that. And it makes sense why they do it, because they're not guaranteed to work every day.
Right.
And so they have to make up for other days that they're not working.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's probably more expensive to hire them than to just hire somebody for minimum wage, honestly. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, what else do you want to tell the people about Pallet Dudes, man?
Real quick, I mean, I'm answering your question here. So I'm putting together this community type thing, right? And there's two things I want to do. It's one is for people in liquidation, to teach them how to do all this stuff. So it's a course in a sense, right? But with actual credibility and value behind it. The other thing that I'm trying to do with it is build a community of how to be an entrepreneur. So that's my real vision. That's my real goal. This is just the means to my end. Pallet Dudes is the means to my end. My end is teaching people how to do something, how to be an entrepreneur, how to make money, right? And I think I've realized that through pallet flipping, that can be a means to other people's ends too. They can learn how to start a business for a very low amount. I mean, $800, $1,000 for a pallet, yeah, in the small scheme of things, it's a lot of money. In the grand schemes of starting a business, though, that is nothing, dude. To start a business for $1,000, that's nothing.
So you want to empower young people, young Matts out there in high school right now, who have portable charging business, but they want to scale it, they want to expand it. Like you want to give them the tools that you've learned as a young person and help them find their path. Whatever business that might be.
I wish I found a warehouse like the one I did in high school. I would be so much further along in life.
Yeah.
I would have made a lot more money.
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. I agree. Yeah. But if I had done that in high school, it'd been a different game, bro.
Yeah. But in high school, would you know anything about liquidation?
No, but I know how to sell. I've always known how to sell.
Yeah.
And so, like, maybe I didn't have the $800, $1,000 myself, but my dad would have loaned me $800.
See, you brought up a good point right now, man. Yeah. Because a lot of people have talents. They
Yeah.
have the ability to do something. They just don't know how to, like, materialize their talents.
Right.
So it seems to me like you've always had this talent of being able to sell anything from you know, portable chargers to the cards that you were selling to candy, whatever it is. You just realized that your way was pallet flipping. Yeah. For now, like that was you found that avenue.
Yeah.
But a lot of young entrepreneurs listening to this, they don't know their avenue.
They
know they're great at marketing. They know they can be the next Steve Jobs in terms of marketing. Yeah. But they just don't know like what do I market?
Right.
Myself? Well, yeah, I think that's important.
That is, yeah,
100%. To be an entrepreneur, to do anything in life, you have to market yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
It's really important. So I mean, in terms of like what do these kids do, to first thing I say, learn how to save money. That is number one. I don't care what anybody tells you. Live large. Like if your mindset's in living large, you'll live large. It's bullshit. If you're able to save and have the mindset of being huge one day, that is the most powerful thing. That's something I've always had. I've always been a huge saver. My family, they literally call me Gordito man. And in Spanish, that means tightwad basically. So gordo is your elbow. So like they're basically saying that because the skin on the elbow is tight, that you're a tightwad. So
you're stingy?
I'm stingy. They've always said that with my son. Because the thing is, dude, I will go to, I mean, I've gone days in high school all the time, here all the time, just to save that dollar. Like, and honestly, I think about it all the time. My dad, they say, why don't you eat lunch? It's because I'm saving. I was literally saving in high school. I wouldn't eat lunch when before the golf course. A lot of times I would wait to after golf to go home and eat there because I would get $50 a week. And in high school, that was good, right? That was some of my gas money, but the rest of the time I was like, okay, how do I save money basically? And so by 18, I was able to get a job, and I was making some money. It was a few $100 a week, right? So it was something. And my dad was like, when you're in college, are you just going to like the food court, or are you like going to buy Slurpee whenever you want? I was like, no, I just go to the food court. I do nothing else. Trying to save as much as I can. And he's, why, dude? You got to live life. You got to be happy. This and that. And I get the point of view, but if I were to have listened to that, I wouldn't have Pallet Dudes right now. I wouldn't have done it, man.
So you're saying starving helped you?
Yeah. I'm not kidding.
Starving for food?
Okay. Starving. It sucks, and I'm not recommending anybody do that, but it worked for me, and I think it will work. It works for other people.
Thinking that's too extreme. I get where you're coming from, because that gives you the mentality, the discipline
Yeah.
that every dollar I spend matters.
Right.
I can't just go out and splurge and have a steak.
Exactly.
I can't just do that. If
Yeah.
I have like $1,000 in my bank account, I can't just go to Fogo de Chao
Yeah,
and
yeah.
have $150
And a
meal.
lot of people think they can.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You're gonna flip a pallet and you're gonna make $600, and then oh yeah, it's an extra $600 instead of $4,000 I made this month. I made $4,600. It's like nobody. You still made the $4,000. Go reinvest into 2 pallets now.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the number one thing. It's just save. If you're able to save young, that's the easiest time. That's something I also realized. The older I'm getting, the more I realize it's harder to save now.
It is.
Because you have to contribute. If you live at home, you have to contribute to bills. You have to contribute, you know, buying food. You have a girlfriend you have to take out. You have a car. You have insurance, phone bill, all this
That's easy.
BS,
Don't have a
right?
girlfriend. Easy done. So
Oh,
easy.
I do recommend that. That honestly, that's something on this entrepreneurship. I'll talk about that in a minute. But
yeah.
if you're able to save young, you have less responsibility.
Saving money, the first step.
Yes.
For any young person.
Any young
Save
person,
money.
save money.
Second step.
Second step, learn how to balance your money, right?
What does that mean?
So accounting is what I'm trying to say. So learn how to do basic accounting. That's one of the biggest things I think that help Pallet Dudes be profitable in the first month. Accounting.
Like Excel, just
Yes. Just
keep
learn how to do
tabs.
Excel
Yeah.
and learn that if you, for example, if you buy a $10,000 truckload, right?
Yeah.
You have to pay $2,000 in rent. You have a $600 car payment. You have this bill, that bill, right? You have to include all this in your cost. This is all cost, right? And you have to figure out, how do I have this truckload that costs $10,000 to cover the truckload itself, the rent, all your bills, right? And then still come out with some profit. And if you can do this every single day, you make a sale and learn, hey, I have this much now. I have this many pallets left. This is how much I need to figure out. Then that's number 2.
Okay.
So these are what I'm trying to say. These are soft skills. You need to learn these soft skills before you get into the mentality. You need to be this entrepreneur. You need to make this amount of money, right? This is all stuff you need to do before you get to all there.
Save money. Build soft accounting skills.
Yes.
Number 3.
Number 3, I'd have to say, learn how to speak. Yeah, learn how to speak. That's the reason I think I've always been pretty good at sales in general.
Yeah.
Is because I'm for whatever reason, I've always been like a likable person. Random people come up to me and talk to me. When I don't want to talk to people, but they'll still come up. It just, I have this weird. I don't know what it is, honestly. It's like it's like an inviting energy.
Yeah.
It's like this weird
That's
thing.
a good thing
right?
to have.
It is good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it sucks because you don't want to talk. Like when you're at the airport and it's 4 a.m. in the morning, you don't want to talk to people, and people come up. I don't like that, bro. Honestly, but when you're able to speak to somebody, you have like this more inviting energy. People trust you more. And when you're able to speak, man, and you learn how to speak to certain people, and like this person is this way, maybe this person's a little more arrogant, so I'm going to shift this way. This person lacks confidence, so I'm going to talk to them this way, right? When you're able to have these types of conversational techniques, that's sales, man.
You have to be good at talking to other people.
Yeah.
You know, not just your friends or your family, like anyone. How do you learn how to talk to anyone?
Right.
Literally any personality.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you come across people that are weird,
oddballs,
that are strange, but you have to communicate with them.
Exactly.
There's something you have to learn.
Yeah.
Number 4. 2 more.
Number 4, to be a young entrepreneur.
We've got saving, soft skills like accounting.
Yeah.
Communication. Speaking, which is the same thing.
Next
Number
thing
4.
is, I think, taking action.
Taking action.
Taking action. The next thing, so taking action as in you got to, there's something in everybody's mind. Whether they want to.
The first step.
I mean, somebody wants to do stocks. Somebody wants to do wholesale real estate. Somebody wants a pallet flip, right? These are all things people want to do, but nobody ever does it. I was talking to a guy yesterday, actually, as I was delivering a pallet. He called me. He was like, hey, man, I have an LLC. First of all, you don't need an LLC to pallet flip. You do not need an LLC, and I highly discourage that. I discourage raising any cost where you don't need it, right? But he's like, yeah, I have an LLC. He's like, but I bought a house a couple years ago. I was going to do this, and I didn't do it, and now I want to do this. And I told him, I was like, man, he was like, I was telling him about the community that I'm building and this course that I'm doing. He's like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And I told him, I was like, 9 out of 10 businesses will fail in the first step because they do not take action. They just, and I told him, I was like, honestly, bro, it's just like you. 9 out of 10 guys are just like you because they start with. I told him that.
You're a loser.
No, not a loser, but I told him, I was like,
Yeah.
if you want to start something, man, you have to do it. That's just it.
You're right. Yeah.
Everyone calls and everyone wants to pallet flip and everyone acts like they're top shit. It's like, dude, then do it, bro. Then do it. You know,
Yeah.
let me finish the story real quick. I'll tell you another story.
Yeah.
So I tell them, hey, man, like 9 out of 10 business fail because they don't get past the first step. They make the business name, they have this idea, but then they don't take any action.
Yeah.
If you have the business name and, you know, that's the fun part. You create the logo, that's the fun part. But next thing is you have to spend some money. You have to do some research on what it is you want to do and then just do it. Just do it. You're going to fail. You're going to lose some money. Who cares, bro? Who cares? The way I think about it is I'm spending $1,000 right now, but what is this business worth, right? When I bought that first pallet for $1,100, right? It was a lot of money. I was super scared. I actually wasn't going to do it. But my dad was there and he was like, I think it will at least make you your money back. I was like, okay, you know, that was scary. That was my life lesson, right? You're spending a little bit of money now comparatively to what the business can become. I did not think that $1,100 business was eventually going to become a $30,000 cash flowing business every month. I just didn't think that was going to happen. And that's what people need to realize, that, you know, it may seem like a lot right now, but comparatively to what you're going to learn, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to so many people, man.
Yeah.
And they always have something they wanted to do. And
Yeah.
they're just like, they're 50 now and they're like, well, you
This
know,
happened, that
life
happened,
that
yeah.
happened. I just couldn't. And it's not a good excuse. If
No.
you want to do something, just go out there and do it.
And do it young.
Do it.
Do it young.
Time is our
Yes.
our advantage. 'Cause
Time
that's
is
the
our
only time.
advantage.
Yeah.
By 28, I mean, if I want to be married by late 20s, early
Yeah.
30s, I'm not gonna have as much time. I'm gonna have a house. I'm gonna have more cost.
Kids, responsibilities.
You can
time.
do it. It's not an excuse, but it's way easier now. It's way easier to pull off 12-hour days when
Yeah.
you don't have anybody calling and nagging you.
If you're an 18-year-old kid right now,
Yeah.
you're a millionaire.
You
have
are.
time.
100%.
And you live with your parents, and hopefully everything is good in the house.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, you have your time. If you have
100%.
time, if you have 6 to 8 hours a day that you can just do anything you want, you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
You are a millionaire. You could conquer the whole world.
You could do a
You
lot,
could
dude.
build the Roman Empire right now.
An 18-year-old kid can have a part-time job, right?
Yeah.
Even full-time, whatever job, save $10,000 in 1 year. Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
By 19, if you have 10 grand, you can do a lot of things. You can do a lot of things, and that's what I'm talking about, dude. It's like when I was 18, 19, I was like, okay, I was working Postmates and I was trying to figure out, how do I save this? How do I save that? If you're 18, 19, you're able to save 10 grand and you want to get into something, dude, you can fucking do it. You
Yeah.
can fucking do it. You can buy a truckload for $10,000. I can sell you a truckload for less than $10,000. And with that $10,000 truckload, you're going to make $15,000 to $16,000.
Yeah. If you
You're
have
gonna
10
do it.
grand savings as an 18-year-old, you could put 5,000 in the S&P 500 index, right?
You
make
can.
money.
Yeah,
save
$500 a
money.
month.
You could do something. You could have safe investments. You could have like risky stuff. You could
Yeah.
do so much.
You can do a lot.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, when you're that young, don't invest in stocks.
You need a
Yeah.
foundation, though.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
In terms of savings, and you need a foundation. You need something. You need something to launch you into whatever venture.
You
want
need
to go.
something, yeah. You need to,
401k, yeah.
you just need to save, bro. That's it.
What's the fifth step? Last one. We
Fifth
talked about
step?
saving. We
Yeah.
talked about communication. We talked about 2 other things that I don't remember anymore. Action.
Saving,
Yeah.
accounting,
Accounting.
communication, taking action.
Taking the first action. Yes.
The
Last
fifth one is consistency and persistence.
Consistency and persistence.
Yeah, it's one thing to take the step. So this is the next percent I'm gonna give you. Okay, the next 9 out of 10 businesses are not gonna have longevity because they stop.
Yep.
They stop after year 1. Another 9 out of 10 businesses stop after year 3.
What's the average length of a business? Like 9 months? 10 months?
No, average length of a business.
Yeah.
Oh, they fail within the first month.
First month.
Yeah, because they don't do anything, bro. You don't have a business if you're not making money.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you are making money, it doesn't mean you have a business. That means you have a hobby. Now you have to learn how to scale it, right? And that's where consistency and persistency comes in. That's when you can say, I have a business, because you're doing something that's worthwhile. You're able to say, hey, I have this 1,000 square foot building. I can turn it into 2,000 square feet now, right? You can say, hey, I have this 2,000 square feet building. I can turn it into 5,000 square feet. That's a business.
Yeah. I think a lot of it also, man, has to do with just being comfortable with taking risks and just believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Because I remember like a year ago, you were a little nervous, man, when you got your first warehouse.
I
You
was
were like,
very
I don't know
nervous.
what is this? Like, how is
I
it
was
gonna
so
work?
nervous, bro.
Yeah, but you took that. The thing is, you fought your nerves.
Yeah.
Because you could have just been like, nah.
Yeah.
I can just keep doing what you were like. What, garage sales?
Yeah,
You
I
were
was
doing
I was
them
buying
yourself?
pallets and I was doing garage
You were
sales.
doing
Yeah.
what all the entrepreneurs that
Yeah.
buy from you were doing.
Yeah.
But you were like, nah, let's take the next step.
Right.
And you had the balls to do it.
That's
Now, a
it,
lot
dude.
of people don't. They just don't have faith in themselves, and I'm like, you can do it.
Yeah.
If you can imagine it, then you can do it.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's that easy. If you can imagine yourself in a warehouse
Yeah.
selling certain things, why not just commit to it and do it? And you did it.
Yeah.
And you're right about the consistency, because the next step is, how do I keep doing this over and over?
Exactly, dude.
Over and over, and let's find the most efficient ways to get from point A to point B.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's-
Anything?
yeah.
What is is that the magic ingredient then? The consistency? Because I think that's very important.
It's it, man. It's it.
Yeah.
You're gonna go. Everyone knows a business owner, right? Everyone knows a business owner in their 50s, 60s, and you ask, okay, what was it? And they're like, I have 20 years of experience. I talked to this one warehouse owner who has 30,000 square feet. He's not in liquidation. He's in displays and some other stuff. And I was like, because I would love to be there one day, right? I would love to be at that stage one day. And he's like, he just told me, he was like, 20 years. That's what he said. It just 20 years. That's all he said. I was like, 20 years? He was like, he didn't say anything else.
Yeah.
Because it's time. It's time that solves everything. Everyone wants that get rich quick scheme. And you know it's possible. It's really possible. For example, like this it took me 2.5 years to be able to gain some experience, to feel like I am a professional in this business, right? And to build a course or community, you have to be some sort of professional or expert, in my opinion. That's where you can become really rich, though, right? That's where you can make a lot of money. That's where you can become a millionaire in a year, right? There's these guys that are doing this, and it's like, okay, bro, how are you making $100,000 a month? And you're convincing people that you're the expert, you're the professional, and they want your time, basically. I wish, dude, I would have paid the $100 a month to have a mentor a year ago. Before I got my first warehouse, I would have paid a mentor $1,000 a month to teach me the business. I would have done it because this is what I wanted to do, right? And I wanted that ease of mind. You know, this guy knows what he's doing. He's gonna show me how to do it. But I mean,
the thing is, even if so you're giving them the tools and foundation, which is important.
Yeah.
And it's up to them
to do
keep
it.
at it. And
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just giving them, hey, here's how I did it.
Yeah.
Now you go out there and do it.
And the thing is, even on top of that, bro, I'm a very, like, I strive for a lot, and I know eventually when it gets to 100 people on the course, 1,000 people, it gets difficult. But what I would love to do, oh man, I would love to do, if you didn't know this, man, in college, if I wasn't going to get into real estate, I was going to get into consulting. I want to be able to build something for somebody else and for them to be successful too.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do, right? So I would love to hop on a phone and with somebody and they say, "Hey, dude, I'm honestly not digging your pallet business right now, but what I am interested in FBA, or I'm interested in setting up a retail shop."
Yeah.
Oh my God. And setting them up with the tools on how to even start a business. To me, that's where I want that course thing to go. For somebody to say, "Hey, I don't know how to do this. How do I do it, Matt?" And I can help them be successful within the first few months. Fuck, dude, that'd be amazing.
That's beautiful. That's the journey of humans, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we like to help others.
Yeah.
When we see what we do inspires others and, like, helps uplift them, that's the most beautiful
And you want to
feeling.
keep going, right? It helps you once. Yeah.
You want to help as many people as you, because that feeling is addicting. When you
Yeah.
help someone and not just help you, empower them.
Yeah.
That's, like, so fulfilling.
Right.
I think every person should look for ways to empower other people.
Yeah.
Because it'll make you your best version as well. It'll
Yeah.
make you happier.
So those are the 5 steps. I want to add one more thing. This is not a step. This is just, you should just be this person. This is like, this is where your mentality should be rooted around. Be a sponge and always learn. Always learn. I think if I stopped learning earlier, and if I was like set in my way, I wouldn't have any business. I wouldn't be able to do anything like that, right? But if you're always open to learning, dude, you will gain so many more tools. You'll meet more people. You'll be more likable of a person because you're willing to listen.
Yes.
It's just so important, man. This is something I want to bring this back to this point. I was gonna tell you a story earlier, but I get customers that come in, bro, and this has happened maybe 5 or 6 times, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I used to have a warehouse 5 times the size." Right? And I'm like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "That's awesome, man. I'm doing well." He's like, "Oh, exactly what you're doing." And I'm like, "Really? Exactly what I'm doing? Selling by the pallet and selling by the piece?" And they're like, "Yeah. I used to make $50,000 a month, $60,000 a month." And the first tell, this is something I realized, right? People like to be bigger than they are. People are bullshitters, right? The first tell is they pull up, nothing wrong with it, but they pull up in a little Golf,
Some people,
a Volkswagen Golf, or they pull up in like a little Honda Civic that's from like the 80s or something, right? And they for some reason, people just want to be bigger than what they are. And so the first question is, because maybe they were that big, right? So I always ask, oh, really? What happened? Like, how did it go? Oh, it was really good. I used to make this much money. I'm like, then why'd you stop? And that's always a question. Why'd you stop if something's working? And they never have an answer, right? And that's because they're lying. And they're lying because they thought they had the answer. They thought they knew everything. But in the reality is they were not willing to listen. They weren't willing to say, "Hey, how do you do this, Matt?" Or how, maybe back then 20 years ago when they were doing this supposedly, what am I doing right now that's not working, and how can I improve on it? Right? So that's the thing.
Well, what if they have $1 million and they still drive a Civic, man? You never know. They could be just.
Why didn't they buy anything from me that day? And by the way, all these guys that say
They
this
don't
shit
ever buy anything. Really? Never.
never buy anything.
Interesting.
Oh, well, this product doesn't look that good, and that doesn't. I can get this for. Oh, that's another thing. A lot of people tell me, they'll come in and they'll say, "Hey, I was talking to a local. He does something similar to me actually, except he does it by the piece completely, and he's local. And he has a little warehouse." And I went and talked to him because he does it by the piece. So I was like, "Hey, I have a lot of stuff I can't move. I'll sell it to you for super cheap." And he was like, "Oh, dude, I get your truckloads for $1,600 a month. I mean, $600 a truckload." And I'm like, $1,600, huh? He's like, "Yeah." He's like, I know the top owner at Home Depot, and I was like, "The top owner, huh?" And I was like, and I named the guy's name, because I work with him. I work with the guy that deals with all reverse logistics, and he was like, "No, it's actually so." I'm like, "No, it's actually," and I gave him his name, and he was like, "Well, actually, now it's the name I gave, right? Now it's I'm gonna call him Dave. Now it's Dave, but it was so and so, and he's the top guy." I'm like, "Oh, is that right?" I was like, "If you get him for $1,600 a truckload, I'll pay you $5,000 right now for every truckload you can get. I'll give you $5,000 right now." And he was like, "Well," and he skipped it, right? And I'm like, "No, seriously, bro. If you're able to get him $1,600, I'll give you $5,000 for every truckload, and you can make an easy $3,500 a truckload. Why wouldn't you want to do it?" He was like, "Oh, I'll let you know about that one." The thing is, bro, these guys are just liars, bro. It's so strange. That's something I've realized. My dad used to tell me this when I was younger. He's like, "You're gonna be disappointed when you grow up in life." He used to tell me that in high school, because everyone is a bullshitter, dude. There are so many bullshitters in this world. It's actually unreal. But they still have their own business. They're still doing something. And it's because they kept going, right, at the end of the day. But they would be bigger. They would be smarter. They would have more money in their pocket if they were just open to listening. Open.
You have to humble yourself.
You have to be humble.
Yeah, you have to humble yourself. Otherwise, you can't grow ever. If you have like a big fat ego at any age, even if you've done so much, it's like you shouldn't, because there's always more you can learn.
Absolutely, bro.
There's no cap. There's the whole process of learning and growing never stops.
Absolutely.
Never stop. That's the human struggle.
That is, man.
What else do you want to say? Last words? We covered a lot of things.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, but I don't think it's for everybody, to be honest with you. It's
just like any other
industry. It's just like anything, man.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. I mean, everyone wants to be their own boss, but some people, they're just, I don't know what it is. You see people that may want to be their own boss, and they're taking a step, and inside, you don't want to say it, but inside it's not for them, right? And it's not, because I'm a very optimistic person, right? If I see a skill in somebody, I tell them that that's their skill, and that's what they should capitalize on, right? But if they're trying to start a business and they're just not there yet, you just know who's an entrepreneur and who's not at the end of the day. It's not for everybody. Don't feel like because everybody on the internet seems to be an entrepreneur that you need to do it too, right? It's okay to work a job and climb
But
corporate
if
ladder.
you want to be one, I think you can.
If you want to be one,
yeah.
go for it.
Yeah.
But don't be discouraged if it's not your skill set. That's my point. If it's not your skill set,
It'll just take you more time to be.
yeah, don't be discouraged. It's not meant for everybody. You can do it, and I like try it, but don't be discouraged if it's not your skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have that hustle in,
Yeah.
12-hour days, 6 days a week.
If you want, honestly, dude, I'm a free consultant. Literally, I could be charging a lot of money for this, but I'm a free consultant just because I'm 23 and I don't have much credibility except 2 years of pallet flipping under me. But if you just want to talk,
yeah,
it's if you just want to talk, I do this with lots of people, whether it's my business or not. Customers come in, they're like, I'm trying to do something, and I talk to them. I'm like, maybe this isn't for you, but maybe this is. If you just are interested in starting a business, just give me a call, and I'll literally walk you through how to start a business. It's easy as that.
Literally, the business model of some of the biggest companies in the world is what you just described: consulting.
Yeah,
McKinsey,
literally.
Boston Consulting,
And I'm doing it for free.
They just help companies figure out
Yeah.
what they can do to maximize more profit.
Absolutely. And they charge $1,000 an hour.
More sometimes. Yeah.
A lot of
Depends.
times. Yeah.
McKinsey people.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Pallet Dudes.
Pallet Dudes
We'll do another update interview.
in a year or two.
Yeah. All right, man.
Thanks, guys.